like I'm trying to be 15 again. Not that I ever wore hats backwards when I was 15.
No, I never did either.
We didn't wear hats.
Over the days.
Hence why I had a melanoma cut out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Well, a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
Hey mate, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate you giving up your time on a Saturday morning. I know you're a busy man. Tell the people who you are, kind of what you've done, because you've done a lot of different things.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Brendan. Right now I'm a data scientist. Technically, I work a full-time consultant job, but I'm also an artist, and that's what I love doing and spending my time doing. So I paint what I call contemporary Australiana is a term I'm using, which is just I really love those old Australian artworks of like Hans Heissen and Albert Namatjira, but I also love contemporary modern works. I'm just trying to put this modern spin. So I'm recently an artist, only for 2 years, but prior to that, spent a lot of time in bands. Spent 8 to 10 years playing pop punk kind of music, and around the Brisbane scene. Studied physics, so I did a physics degree somewhere in there, and then for a brief period was a television chef and went in the industry and was cooking for a living as well. So I've been through quite a few different careers already.
So you're 55.
I sound like it. So some people don't believe my age when I talk to them about the diversity of things I've done, but I've progressed through them.
Yeah, so we first met through music.
Yeah.
Back in the Finnabar days. And then you were Earthworm Jim. Where did that name come from?
That's a really good question. I think my band members probably have a better genesis story, but I used to headbang like you wouldn't believe, thus I have neck problems now.
Right, yep.
But there was a character, Earthworm Jim, the video game character. If anyone watching is young, you might have to Google it, but he was like, a little tiny bobblehead kind of dude who used to whip his head around to grab onto stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the genesis story, is that I would headbang like you wouldn't believe.
Beautiful, beautiful. I remember you from MasterChef. I actually had high hopes for you. Because they were showing a lot of you.
I know.
Like I'm like, they're showing Brendan a lot.
Yeah.
He's a mate. This is going to be great. He's going to, and they showed a lot of people for 2 reasons. One, they're going to go great.
Yep.
And the other one, they're not. So
I know, right?
yeah.
And you don't know which one.
Yeah. Yeah. And you, what did you last? A week or 2?
Well, I did. The format was a little different then. So
Right.
there was a top 50, and you had to do like the first week to get onto into the house, and then a week in the house. So it was 2 weeks technically, but it was short and sharp. And they were showing a lot of me, and we all had high hopes, but they were building up those expectations so they could slam them down. Yeah.
It's not really about cooking, that show, is it?
Look, I think as far as cooking shows go, it's probably the better ones.
Yeah.
You certainly have to be a talented chef to be on there and progress, but like any reality TV, there's a lot more than just the skill set. It's about ratings,
I didn't cry, but I was disappointed.
I did, as you would have seen.
No one eats raw pork.
No.
Or chicken.
No.
Beef, you get away with lamb.
Don't.
The other two, the white meats.
No. Don't start me.
No, we'll move on from that. Hey mate, we're really here to talk about the tattoos. I do love your current art, by the way. If you,
Thank you.
If you like contemporary, modern Australian kind of landscape scenes, I guess.
Yes, landscape.
Is it BJ Langfield art?
Correct.
Yeah, look it up. It's bloody good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So, he does big pieces, small pieces. He does commissions. I shouldn't have told you that, but he can. But look it up, BJ Langfield art. I'll put a link down in the the thing down the bottom of the YouTube
section.
video. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
and I'll put a link to Finnabar.
If you want.
I won't put a link to
There'll be a lot of
Earthworm
links.
Jim.
We'll find some good links.
All right, and we'll put some links down there. Hey, tell us about your first tattoo.
Yeah.
What was it? Kind of what motivated you to go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get some ink permanently marked on my skin.
Yep. I think, so my first one's tucked under my arms here, One Chance, One Life. I got them done at the same time.
Yeah.
I still don't know to this day whether they're the right way around or not. I've had people argue either way. But I mean, I think, I was 19, maybe even late 18s when I got that done.
Yeah.
And, I was in bands, as you know, and I just wanted to kind of start that journey towards having more tattoos. That was my first step to do it. And, at that time, all the musicians I aspired to be like they were all linked up. So
Yeah.
I felt like that was part of establishing my identity, was starting to get some tattoos. And these ones being tucked away kind of satiated the parents, didn't freak them out
Sure.
too much initially.
Yeah.
And, at the time, I'm not entirely sure why I picked that particular phrase. It's,
Yeah.
pretty cliched.
Yeah.
But, I think retrospectively, it's pretty reflective of the way I've lived my life, that, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Mortality is inevitable, and
Sure.
you've got to do the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's probably how I would have justified it at the time, and that sort of holds true.
Yeah, but look, you said cliche. Cliches are often cliches because they hold true over a long period of time.
Exactly.
You only get one shot,
Yeah.
as Eminem
Eminem.
famously said. You get one shot, and you do.
Yeah.
And like what's interesting, like I'm almost double your age. As you get older, it becomes more real.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
When you're a kid, when you're like 15 or whatever, you're like, live forever, whatever. You don't even think about your mortality.
No.
And then you get to like, I'm 60, 61 this year. It's like, the end's up here. I hope it's further away than what I think it might be. But,
Yep.
you're like, okay, I've got to get a lot of shit done now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's not bad. Okay, so no regrets with that one, really.
None whatsoever.
Because we've had a few people sit here and go, the first one,
Yeah, yep.
maybe we get a cover up.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happened from there? Where did you go? Like, did you go
So-
another small piece, or was it like, nah, stuff it, I'm going big, bright and bold?
Yeah, so as I think most people do, once you get your first one, again you get the buzz and you get addicted to it. So
Yeah.
then I went to the chest piece, which is pretty
What
large.
does it say in the middle of your...
So it says devotion, desire, believe.
Okay.
So the first two words, devotion, desire, from a Bayside song. That was a band that I really liked. And then I threw believe in there for some reason. But I think this sort of continued the story for me about, again, if life being short and having one shot, you've got to commit. And I think, again, to this day, everything I try and do, but now it's art. For a while it was cooking. For a while it was studying physics. I really commit to doing it. And I think, without commitment and belief, you don't really progress in something.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that spawned from.
So has that kind of become a life mantra for you? Like, you've
I
got,
think so,
one chance,
Yeah.
one life. One life, one chance, whichever you
Yep.
want. And they're kind of like a mantra for you.
Yeah, I think so. And at the time, all of these pieces, and they all basically carry that same meaning, I think, as I reflect upon them. But at the time, I didn't really think too deeply about it.
Right.
And I notice that even now, when I'm painting, that at the time I'm not too focused on what it means and just more focused on letting it out. And
Right.
then sometimes many years later, you can look back upon it and see the meaning behind it. So,
Right.
but that concept of life being short and needing to pursue the things that you really enjoy and pursue it with fervour and passion, that's definitely a mantra of mine.
Cool. And you've done that. I mean, you've packed a lot in. You're only 37.
Yeah.
He's a good cook too, by the way. He did a function for us. Fuck, the food was fantastic.
I forgot about
That beef cheek was unreal, mate.
Oh, you beauty. I
Like,
completely
there was a lot
forgot
left
about
over, and I'm glad about that because I took it home. And I was munging down on beef cheek. Like,
That was-
sensational. He can
that was
cook.
a good day,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you got a party coming up, no, don't. He
that.
probably
No,
doesn't
I don't do that anymore. No.
But, just try and get on his good side and get invited to a dinner party because,
Yeah.
he does good, bloody good food. Okay, so devotion, desire, belief.
Yep.
Nice. Where from there? Was it the wrap around the arm?
Yeah. So once that was done and
Yep.
I was in, and throughout this whole phase, this was when I was in bands. The band was progressing quite well.
Yep.
And, things were looking good for a band in humble Toowoomba. We'd moved to Brisbane. There was a period where we had quite a lot of radio play and things were progressing, and I was like, cool, music is my thing. So that's when I went, full on and got the sleeve done. So I designed this all, myself and,
Yep.
and worked with a tattoo artist on it. So it wasn't a sticker piece or anything. I remember drawing it up. I wish I still had the piece of paper with the horrible hand sketch on it,
Yeah.
but I remember the sort of original version of this, and this was the next step. And it's again similar in vein to everything. The lyrics around the outside are from a funeral for a friend song. It's
Right.
a band from
Bend your...
Bend Your Arms to Look Like Wings.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and whenever I tell people that all the time, they think of like the chicken dance or something. Yeah, exactly. But, you can probably see the same kind of thing here. It's about, that you're capable of probably more than you can imagine. I think, that if you really want to do something, you can endeavour, and most often you can achieve it if you put your mind to it. So, same sort of philosophy. One of the interesting things that we were discussing before is I've got a tree on me. I don't know at the time if I had any real connection to trees.
Has it got a word on it?
So interestingly, these are ex-girlfriend's initials.
Wow.
And you mentioned before the concept of cover-ups, and
Yeah.
I knew this would come up today, so I've been thinking about it for a couple of days. I don't think cover-ups, I've never thought about it for more than a millisecond.
Right.
Because I think my philosophy, this whole concept of needing to do lots of things, commit to whatever you're passionate about. I think a cover-up is kind of, contrary to that. So, that relationship was brilliant while it lasted because I was so committed and passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so, every little piece on here, I don't play music anymore, yet still have musical notes all over me. That was still an integral part of building me to who I am today. So, got a big tree on me. That was 14 years ago, and now I paint mostly trees.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the connection was or where it's come from, but a lot of things I think that I did when I was younger still, they still resonate within me.
Deep subconscious.
Yeah.
And you got the rocket. What's the rocket like?
Yes.
Like this is an interesting piece for me because you've got the lyrics in a very old kind of torn ribbon.
Yep.
You've got a tree,
Yep.
which is not everyone's like first idea for a tattoo.
Yeah.
Obviously the musical lyrics I get.
Yep.
You've got the kind of like the compass star on your elbow.
Correct.
You've got north, south, east, west on there. You've
Yep.
got the star, and then you've got this. You got freaking the space shuttle.
Yeah.
What the?
Little odd one out.
What is that?
So, I've always been obsessed with like space and just I guess the grandness of it all. And Carl Sagan quotes and everything about how we're pretty small in the grand scheme of things and very lucky to even be here on this planet alive doing what we do. So, I've always been obsessed with space. I remember being much younger, thinking an astronaut was my dream, career as everyone did.
Yeah.
And then again, interestingly, so I got this 7 or 8 years before I went and formally studied physics, and I've researched physics for quite a while. So again, I think it was just something that I was passionate about, whether I was pursuing it or not at the time or not. I was just really passionate about those concepts of space and discovery.
Yeah.
That is Discovery, the shuttle itself.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Even
It's not the one that blew up. That
No.
was Challenger.
Exactly.
That's
So
another. You can
a
do that on
different
your
one.
back
Yeah.
to remind you that things don't always
Things don't always
the
go
way
to
you want.
plan. I've got plenty of those stories. Don't worry. Actually, you mentioned
The compass.
the compass. So maybe just I guess I remember a story about how not everything has to be deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
So when I got this done, I did go in with the design of having south on it, and you'll notice it doesn't have a south on it.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
the
something
piece
gets in
of
the
bend
way.
is over there. Yeah.
Exactly, and so essentially we just couldn't fit it in.
Yeah.
And so I remember talking to the tattoo artist at the time, and we were like, we can just make up a story about how you can't go backwards in life, you can
Right,
go
can't go
forwards or
south.
go
Yeah,
around
yeah.
things. Exactly, and so whenever people ask, that's what I tell them.
That's interesting.
But it's purely fabricated
Yeah.
based on the fact we couldn't fit it in.
Yeah. But that, look, like you talking to me and explaining your tattoos, I think they've all got some kind of meaning that's come from a place of you wanting to live your life. You've talked about rockets were my passion.
Yeah.
The lyrics about bending your arms to make wings. I can fly. You've got your, what is it? Belief, desire,
Devotion.
devotion,
Yeah.
belief.
Yeah.
And then you've got one chance, one life.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It all stems from this internal for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Where do you
so.
think that comes from?
I don't know, and I reflect upon it quite a lot now. My wife now is very interested in where our emotions come from and our driving forces.
Right. Yeah.
And she often asks me to introspect a little bit about on why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm lucky
Yeah.
to have that within me.
Yeah.
That sort of that drive to know that I can try different things.
Yeah.
I think I got very used to failing when I was young as well, and that
Right,
being a
okay.
part of life.
Yeah.
I moved around a lot when I was younger, so
Okay.
I remember going to many primary schools. I don't know how many it was. It was probably 6 or 7 or something
Wow,
like
okay.
that.
As many years as there is in primary school.
Yeah, exactly.
You had a
And
new
so-
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that concept of always having to change and
Was that because
adapt.
you got kicked out?
No, unfortunately.
fine.
I was a good student, believe it or
checking,
not.
just checking.
Good student. No, Mum had a job that required moving, so we were around. But I think that instilled some resilience potentially, and just having to make new friends and evolve and adapt as I was quite young.
Yeah.
I think it's one theory,
Yeah.
but I don't know. To be honest, I really like a lot of things,
Okay.
and when I decide to do something, I like pursuing it with a lot of passion.
Right.
It tends to have worked pretty well for me.
That's good. Hey, there's one we didn't take a photograph of.
Yes.
For obvious reasons. But you got a tattoo on your arse cheek.
I do.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not on public display.
Correct. Not often.
I'd say there's not too many people who've seen it.
No. Well, you'd be surprised.
So, okay, tell us, what's on your arse cheek?
Yeah, so that's probably it's the most interesting one. It says #winning.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone remembers, this is when like Charlie Sheen, who's probably not particularly popular anymore, was very popular at the time.
Yeah.
He had this whole thing, #winning, I think it was all over Twitter or whatever platform was popular at the time. And so in the band, we ended up, there was this radio competition. And the whole idea is you had to get fan votes.
Right.
And then if you won the competition, we got a good chunk of money and lots of radio time, etc.
Yeah.
So we embarked on this whole series of us just doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Making fools of ourselves.
And that was one of them.
And so if we won the competition, we promised all our fans that we would get #winning tattooed on our butts. And we won the competition.
So there's 4 of you.
Thank you, everybody. Well, 4 of us have #winning on our butts, same butt cheek.
Goldie.
Yep.
#winning.
Yep. And we got it done live on radio, which is a weird concept for a tattoo. But they broadcast that, and I remember listening back to it, and it's just us, screaming in pain at the butt tattoo.
Yeah.
It's quite a painful spot. It's very sensitive.
Yeah, I thought the elbow would be the worst.
The elbow was pretty bad.
Because there's not a lot of absorption there. You hit the bone, right?
That's why the chest actually, in
sternum,
retrospect, was the worst. But quite sensitive on the buttocks.
But again, interesting, like #winning, it fits in with all your other tattoos. Even though it was like a bit of a ha-ha, let's win a comp.
Yep.
Let's put a goal at the end for the fans that, okay, we'll do something dumb, but at the end of the day, it fits in with everything else that you've got.
Yeah, and it's just, it's commitment. Like if you're going to do something, you give it everything you've got.
Yeah.
And again, I would never get that covered up. Even if that was, maybe not on my forehead, I'd get it covered up. But if it was on my arm, it's still...
How would you do that?
Part of that
That's an
journey.
interesting question. How would you cover a forehead tat?
You'd have to get something better, I guess. I don't know.
I see guys around and they've got, and girls now, anyone really, and they've got face tattoos, and I'm like, that's brave.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pushing the boundaries with my musical note here in my corporate job.
Yeah.
That's just enough so people go, oh, he's a bit different.
Yeah.
But people don't mind.
So do you wear long sleeves at work?
No, most of the time I don't. I think, we've progressed a long way, I think, in terms of what you can and can't do in a corporate environment, which is great. But, I always think if you're good enough at what you do, people shouldn't care about what you look like.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's.
But you've got to get through the door first.
You do, absolutely.
So in your interview, you wore long sleeves.
100%. Yeah, those first couple of years as a grad and trying to get in the door, and then once they know, and once you know you're valuable, then...
I mean, I've had a bank manager with sleeves.
Yeah.
Recently. That's cool. But I'm sure when he went for the interview,
absolutely,
long sleeve suit. 100%. And that's the thing. Talk to a few people. like, okay, I've got tats, no hands, no neck, no face.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can cover up.
Yep.
But once I go beyond that, I'm like, well, there's certain jobs where I wouldn't get in the front door.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
All right, mate. One last question. It's the one I ask everyone. I'll talk to you before about this, so you've had some ideas.
Yep.
Complete clean skin, may or may not get a tattoo.
Yes. What
do you think should be Brett's first tattoo?
I think the key is not to overthink it too much. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll probably get, you probably have been thinking about it a lot as these go on. But
I have actually. It's actually come into my mind a few times. Yeah.
I mean, I think you just need to get something that you're passionate about, like right now, whether you will or won't be in 10, 15 years' time. It'd be a blessing to still be kicking, having fun in 15, 20 years' time and worried about a tattoo, right?
Yeah.
Get your dog, get an analog camera, get your favourite Midnight Oil lyric, just get something that you think is rad, and you won't regret it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, a few people have said that. Yeah. Now, like it's about my personal choice rather than them saying you should get this. There's been a couple of suggestions that I go, you know me, that's not a bad tattoo. But it's funny, I'd never thought about getting a tattoo. Ever.
Yeah. Okay.
You're like number 7 or 8 that I've interviewed now. I think 7, and it's in my mind more now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was never there.
Yeah, interesting.
And now it's like, you know what? But the scary thing is, and you've mentioned it too, the addiction.
Yeah.
Once you get one, like Pringles.
Yep.
Once you pop,
get some more.
Can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. And they're expensive, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, what is it, like a small piece about that big? What?
Well, I don't know anymore, but I mean, this at the time was almost $5,000 worth.
Holy.
For a struggling musician. And, I probably should have spent that on good food.
So I should start my GoFundMe campaign now.
You should. I'll kick in a little.
All right, mate. Thanks heaps for coming in.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure. Always. And looking forward to seeing more art on more people's walls.
Thank you.
You do a great job there, and it'd be interesting to see what you do next. Like, you've bam, painting currently.
Yep.
Who knows?
And that's the thing. And I'll follow
Acting.
Follow the passions. I don't know. I'm a Survivor. I don't know, something. I've got a few ambitions.
You're too skinny to go on Survivor.
I know. I need to put on a fair bit.
You'd be like a rake. What's what?
Not wanna take it, my head will start to cave in. Oh, XY generation, that's just my observation.